Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 60 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. Holy cow, I can't believe it's episode 60 already. That's insane. So we've been doing a little work between the last few episodes here, mostly focused on Botania. I'm having a little fun automating all the things. Botania automation is a lot of fun for me, and hopefully it's a lot of fun for you guys too. So, where are we at now? So the last couple episodes, let me get my wand of the forest out here. We don't have a lot of mana at the moment. That's the thing we're going to work on today. But the last few episodes is we got ourselves pretty much an unlimited amount of petals, right? So we will have, at all times, these petals ready to roll, right? Anytime we use petals, it autofills. It's pretty cool. And the same for the living wood and living rock and seeds. And I could even throw bone meal in there if I wanted to, but I'm thinking I probably don't need bone meal at the moment. It should be fine. So pretty much like I said, anything we use will automatically get taken care of. Sweet. So I'm thinking I'd like to create some automation of some things. There's only one component I'm a little bit afraid to do at the moment. I mean, afraid's a strong word, but I mean, terrified? No, that probably doesn't work either. Hesitant? That could be the right word. When I put the external storage on this drawer controller, we're going to run into a problem, and I have to figure out how to solve it. And ideally, I'd solve it today if I can. So we want some cabling, and we want that external storage that I just asked it to make. And here's the problem we're going to run into, right? The export bus on the drawer controller is going to pretty much... So here's what's going to happen, right? When I have this dude set up, right, with this, when he goes to export living rock and living wood, when this gets low, what's going to happen is he's going to first pull it from an available inventory, which is this inventory. It doesn't know that. It's not aware of the fact that the export bus is hooked up to the same place as the exporter. So I'll demonstrate this now. Yoink. Okay, here's what's going to happen, right? If I take 4 of these out, right, 60, this thing's no longer automated. And the reason for that, which you don't see here, but if you look in here, it's not even like fast enough to see. But basically what's happening is we're extracting the item from the external storage and exporting it right back into the external storage. And that's just happening in a loop over and over and over again. If I break this, right, what's going to happen is it no longer has access to that, and it should now be placing those wood pieces down. So that's cool, but not cool, because it means right now, as it stands, it's not easy for me. Do I not have a magnet on? Okay, I probably dropped something. It's not easy for me to deal with that, right? Like, I have to figure out a way. Now, I mean, I could set this to, like, not pull items out, but then I can't access it, so it's pointless to have this thing there, right? So I have to figure out a good solution. And I want to figure that out now before we proceed, so give me a few minutes to think that over, and then we'll be back. So I've got something of an idea. It's a little bit crazy, but it might work. So you were an importer. Break you. You were the crafter with the crafting components in you, right? So let's remove these guys so that it's no longer a on-demand crafting mechanic, which I know that's what I said I wanted before, and it was, but now I'm changing up my mind. And we're going to make an exporter, and then we're going to want our key, and then we're going to want a drawer upgrade. So let's do, we'll get you, that's fine. And then I can use you to make these. Sweet. And then I can get one of these. So this sounds a little bit crazy, and it's like another one of those like weird Enderman, please, what's going on? What is going on with you? Why are you smoldering now and running really fast? Go away. So here's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do, right? You're an external storage. I could put you here, right? And if I had my key, I could lock this. And what we could do is borrow one each of these, which might, by the way, you know, okay, so stuff's working, so that's good. And then we're also going to want stone, and wood, right? So what I could do is the following. We could have this dude set up for wood and stone and living wood and living stone. And we set an export bus on this dude configured for wood and stone. Cool. So what this is going to do is fill this thing up with wood and stone. The wood and stone is going to get pulled out of here, and then it's going to fill this thing up with living wood and living rock, right? And you might be wondering, like, why direwolf? Well, here's why. Check this out. Next up, we're going to add this dude. All this over here feeds in on brown, right? So instead of having an exporter here that's configured to export living rock and living wood, okay, we can keep the seeds exporter there because that's fine. That's just a handy thing to have, and ideally we could probably even get rid of that altogether, and we wouldn't even need our... Well, we still need the cabling system here because I want the external storage on this. But what we can do now is say item conduit this over here, right? And we just configure you to extract on brown, always active, right? So what's going to happen now is separate completely. So the refined storage system doesn't know that we're auto crafting stuff over here. And by the way, this was meant to be in here. So can you, like, please not for a sec? Only work with redstone signal. Cool. So now there's a stack limit of 1. We'll set you to ignore redstone again. Cool. So these guys can go away. This stuff can go away. This stuff can go away. That's all cool, right? So here's what's going to happen, right? We're going to keep a stack of wood and stone in here at all times. It's also going to build up a backlog of living wood and living rock. That backlog will then be piped through item conduits over to here. So it's no longer an on-demand crafting or an export bus. All it is completely separate from the refined storage system. We're holding on to a full stack's worth of living wood and living rock. And that should be cool. And now I can put my external storage on this guy and my cable, and this won't be a big deal. Because how it's going to work is every time I decide to use some of this stuff, right? So we're going to put this here just to... Every time I decide to use some living wood or living rock, it's going to automatically refill from over here, this drawer. Cool. And then the drawer is going to refill with these things. Cool? So that should actually work pretty well. So in a few minutes, that'll all be backlogged, and everybody's going to be a winner. And that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. And that should be perfect. So I'm going to put the stuff that I just extracted from there a second ago. But that's good, right? And I like that, and I think that'll be cool. So that should make it so that our refined storage system can now see the existence of not only the flowers, but the living wood and living rock, and not enter that recursive crafting loop that we're going to run into. So the next thing I'd like to do is be able to teach it how to make spreaders. Because you're going to want mana spreaders at some point. And we should also probably teach it how to make pools. Mana pools are nice to have. What else might we want to craft regularly? So the other thing we might want to do is teach it how to make certain flowers. I'm not sure if we want to do that just now, but Gourmallyllis are definitely on the list. We already have one, right? I wouldn't mind teaching it how to make runes, but auto-crafting runes has always been, let's say, difficult. Give me a minute to think about how I could auto-craft runes, and then we'll come back. All right, guys, I'm trying to come up with a good way that's not... So there's easy ways to automate. Well, there's not easy. There's no easy way to automate a Botania mana infusion altar, runic altar thingy. With the current mod set we have, that's going to be, let's say, easy to decide how to do it. Like, there's some ways to do it, but like it's tricky. Ultimately, is what it comes down to is if you want to do it for I'm going to need about 10 runes. Sweet. So notice how like the living wood is just staying here and the living rock is converting. That's cool. That's pretty much what we want to see. So there's ways to do what I want to do, right? Some of them are more programmer intensive than others, right? Like we could do it with RF Tools Control, and I've done that before, and it's worked out pretty well. But the problem is with this, right? You want to make sure not to drop too many items on here, right? So like if it's similar to the problem that I have with automating this guy, but even more pronounced, right? If I want to make, like with that one over there, right? If I want to make 2 of these runes, it's no problem. It'll only do 1 rune at a time. The runic altar, on the other hand, is a problem. You need to really have strong control over what goes into this inventory, right? Because if I put 1 melon and 1 slime ball and 2 sand, we're good. But if I put a 3rd sand in there, or if I put like 2 melons in there, it wouldn't work, right? So we need to strictly control 1 set of items at a time and wait for it to be done crafting before we move on to the next set. And that's ultimately the challenge with automating something like this. And I can do it with RF Tools Control. I've done it before with RF Tools Control, right? I'm trying to come up with a good way to do it that's not RF Tools Control, because that's like, it's not programming, but it's more programming-y. But the level of complexity that we need to do this, it might need to be something like RF Tools Control or Open Computers or something like that if we want to have it fully automated. The easier way to do it would be to have 1 runic altar per rune. So ultimately, we would need, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 runic altars, each dedicated to 1 craft. And then it's easier, right? You can make it so that ultimately you just like say, hey, I want a rune of water, it sends 1 set of ingredients and then gets another set ready, right? But it's when you want to say, be able to craft any of these recursively with 1 runic altar, that's when things get tricky, right? So we'll have to see what we can come up with. There's ways and approaches, and I might come up with something that's like cool and not too complex. But it'll be complex, let's be honest, right? But for now, I'm going to get my Gourmallyllis, right? So I just need a couple more things. I just need some runes of fire, and I need about 3 sets of them. So I'm going to craft the rest of this off camera is what I'm going to wind up doing. Nether wart, gunpowder, and nether brick. Nether wart. Oh, I need more nether wart. I don't need more nether wart, but I'm going to need it. So blaze rods can make nether wart, and mushrooms can make nether wart. That's cool to know. Okay, another brick. I like that I now officially have more nether stars than nether brick. That's cool. And gunpowder. Sweet. And then we're going to also need some iron and some redstone. And that should be cool. And then I can break this. That's how I got my stuff. So you and you. And then we're good to go. All right, runes of fire back in a minute after I've crafted these. So check it out. I just used some flowers. So guess what should be running over here? This guy. And he is. And he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And he's producing more yellow petals and more red petals, which we already filled up, and light gray we're working on as well. So that's working perfectly. Awesome. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. Nice. And then I should be able to right click with an empty hand, drop. Right click with an empty hand, drop. Loving it. Beautiful. So we've got Gourmallyllis ready to roll. So Gourmallyllis are cool. They can eat food. If we take a look with our lens, which I don't have on me at the moment, our mana lens, we'll see the radius. Do I not have it on me at the moment? Mana Seer. Oh, it's a Mana Seer monocle is what it's called. That's right. Boom. Put it on. Looking fancy. Oh, yeah. All right, so this guy has a radius of about 1 block in every direction, right? So it's a 3x3 area that it can cover. So if we want to drop food to make the Gourmallyllis eat it, if we had this here, right, these blocks will overlap. So if I put and I drop the food on here, we wouldn't know who would eat it. I have no idea which one of those 2 flowers ate it. Either one of them could have. And we'll see by right-clicking on this. Oh, this guy is the one who ate it, right? So if we want to be careful and prevent any accidental sharing of food, right, we can do this. And as long as we drop the food directly on top of it, this guy can't overhear. So 1 space gap in between each of these. Now, we could just do like something like this, and that would be good, right? If I had it here, he's going to overlap, right? So we don't want that. I mean, we could have him here, but like, why bother? At this point, I think it's just as good to have him sit right here. Cool. So that will be our Gourmallyllis layout. That should work out for us. And what we'll want to do is basically, now you guys should all be bound to that thing, right? Now the problem is, this thing actually generates quite a lot of mana when you use Beef Wellington, like I'm going to be using, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They should all be ready. Nice. But look how long it's going to take for this mana spreader to pour its mana into this mana pool. It's actually quite a while. There's a lot of mana that needs to be fed into there. Look, these guys aren't even, like, done functioning. Like that, like one flower is still being emptied right now. It's this one. All right, this flower just finished onto another flower, right? So if you want this to run efficiently, you're probably going to want multiple mana spreaders. And at some point, we're going to want multiple upgraded mana spreaders, and we'll get to that, which is a good reason that I taught this thing how to make multiples of these. So let's get about 5 more of them. Cool. And that should be good. So we'll want to figure out exactly how I'm going to want to feed this mana into this mana pool, right? We could do like this and this. This, this, and this. Would that be neat? And then we could bind you here, you here. You're still there. You go up here. No, I said you. Go there. You bind to this one. You bind to this one. And you bind to that one. Cool. And you can see it when you look at the Gourmallyllis with the wand in your hand. You can see which one it's bound to by looking for that border. See that outline on the spreaders that shows up? That's letting you know which of these Gourmallyllis is bound to which spreader, which is neat. Enderman, please. Cool. Function mode, bind mode. Let's put them in function mode. Actually, yeah, I just want to... Doesn't matter. I want this guy to tell me how much mana he's got left. Cool. All right, let's take a nap. So the next step is going to be detecting when mana's going into the Gourmallyllis, or when mana's still running, basically. So here's the problem with the Gourmallyllis, right? You can feed him food, like I'm about to. Boom. And he's going to fill himself up pretty well. Right? If I feed him another piece of food, he's just going to take it, and he's going to keep on eating. Look, I'm dropping all these Beef Wellingtons on there. And he'll fill up his mana pool. And, like, that's kind of it. So that's not good. We don't want that. That's going to waste Beef Wellington in the end. So what we want to do is detect when the Beef Wellington is still being used. And we can do that with something called a mana detector, which is pretty cool. The mana detector, right here, which we can craft automatically, and will trigger a refilling of our living rock. Sweet. Can be placed in the line of a mana burst, right? And I just want to test to see if you're going to be going through that guy. You should be. Right, so when we feed him, see the pulsing of the red? Guess what that's pulsing a red of? Redstone signal. Cool. So we can see that thing going through. Now, I fed who? You? Perfect. All right, let's just make sure that you are also going through that block. And we'll know that when you're done running, which is soon. So this guy's almost done. We can see that. And you're still pulsing a redstone. So basically the mana burst, and if I take off my mana seer monocle, it might be a little bit easier to see, is going through the mana detector. And the mana detector is emitting a redstone signal anytime a mana burst travels through it. Neat. So we can use that to detect when the Gourmallyllis are still eating. So we can look for the flashing of a redstone signal, and when we don't have it for a few seconds, drop a beef Wellington on top of each of these Gourmallyllises. Does that sound cool? All right, so let's try this with automatic precision droppers from Actually Additions. And I'd like this to be a relatively compact build. And suddenly I'm debating if I want to move this over to my main Botania area, right? Like, this is storage. This is going to be a little bit cluttered right outside my base. Is that a bad thing, or is that okay? Thinking I might want to move this over here. So before I get too in-depth with this stuff, right, let's move this thing over here. And I might wind up eventually moving those guys, right? How full are you, by the way? Oh, not bad. Let's make a quick tablet. You know, let's make another pool. And here's how it's going to work. We'll just do a whole new pool, and then we will branch off from here, right? So the main production of mana can happen like right around here-ish, right? And what we'll probably wind up having is our mana detector here. We'll put down our mana spreaders like so. We'll bind them all. You probably don't need to be bound because you're already facing the right way, but just to be consistent. And then we'll have our Gourmallyllises here. Cool. And then you can be bound to the top one, you bound to that top one. For some reason, when I click wrong and miss the flower, it's really derpy. You to, obviously, yes, this one. You're already bound to the right one, and you're already bound to the right one, so you're good. Cool. All right. So then from there, we're going to want, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 blocks up. Okay. And then I can put my dropper right where I want these guys to be. Cool. So they'll be literally right on top of those guys. Neat. All right, so that's step 1. Step 2, we'll be keeping them full of beef Wellington and giving them redstone signal. So first off, I want to make sure that they're all set to redstone mode as pulse. Redstone mode pulse. Deactivation. Okay, pulse. All of them are set to pulse, right? Nice. So that's pretty neat. Let's next. It would be cool if I could completely hide this, but I don't know that I can get these to feed underground, right? I mean, I could try, just out of curiosity, because I have a couple ideas on how I can hide this. But out of curiosity, if you were here and you were set to deactivation mode, which means you'll drop whenever. Let's turn off our ringer magnetization. You can't, like, eat underneath there, can you? No, I didn't think so. Now, out of curiosity, if you were 1 level higher, that does kind of look like it's going to work, doesn't it? Will that always work as well? I don't want any, possibility of it misbehaving, right? That does look like it's kind of working, doesn't it? Let's get a few extra beef Wellingtons ready. Of which I've got so many resources for, like, I'm not worried about a little bit. Not even a little bit worried. I think that's gonna work. And nobody else can eat? Let's do that. Because ultimately I wanted this thing to be well hidden. I thought it would be cool. I was gonna do something with phantom faces, but this is even better. Right? Put you back on pulse, put you back on pulse. Gourmallyllis. And remember, these guys will automatically bind to their nearest mana spreader. So the ones in the front here automatically bind to the right place because of that. Cool. So you're pulse, pulse, pulse. You are pulse. So I can hide all of this completely underground, and that's pretty neat, right? So then here, what we're going to want to do is, oh cool, there's a neat little cave down here. That's not what I want, but okay. So now we can do some combination of things to make this fully automated. So with you all set to pulse mode, right, we can get some red alloy insulated redstone stuff, right? Get me 30 more, please, while I use this up. And as I recall, you don't recognize them, but I'm going to set your up to in-out mode. Cool. And we're going to use the same redstone signal for all of this. So it'll always be redstone color red. Good deal, right? The other thing I'd love to do, how bad of an idea would it be to try and put filters on both sides of the same block? Is that like a really bad idea or a little bit of a bad idea? Pipes, please. I don't know how well this will work multi-block wise, but we'll see. Filter and pipe? That looks like it's working okay. So if that's implemented correctly, that should work pretty well. And that's how I'm going to keep Beef Wellington in the system, right? This method should work out pretty smoothly. All I need to do is set each of these filters. That does actually look like it's working pretty well. Cool. I was concerned for a moment as to whether or not that would work, but it seems to be, right? So single item, filter, filter, single item, and then we're going to want a transfer, and we're probably going to want some speed upgrades, right? Not too many, but a few. Four sounds like a good number. And then we're going to want an interface. We're going to want an interface, and we're going to want a crafting upgrade. Okay, and what we're going to do is probably here-ish. Have an interface with our transfer node and this dude, and you're gonna have your speed upgrades in you. Yeah, that one, right? And then you're going to be storing with a crafting export X number of Beef Wellington. Right? Let's say keep half a stack on hand at all times. And it's not working obviously right now because I need more cables. But my connection to my refined storage system should not be too far behind this wall. Look, there it is. Cool. So you're going to keep your Beef Wellington on hand, which will automatically feed one Beef Wellington into each of these precision droppers. Okay. Then what we need to do is give it a redstone pulse. So by way of a button would work, right? What is going on with buckets? Oh, probably because it's auto-crafting Beef Wellington, would be my guess. Yeah, still working on Beef Wellington, that's why. Cool. And you are... Wow, you really... Okay, right, because we had to fill up the internal buffer here. And then you'll keep 32. So in reality, you could probably keep something like 10. So that's a little more than an entire set. Cool, and that should work. Nice. So that'll fulfill that, and then Beef Wellington auto crafting should be done. Looks like it's got a few more iterations to complete. Sweet. Look, I'm not even... There's literally nothing I'm doing. He just came into my base, ran right past me, and then teleported out. All right, Beef Wellington auto crafting is done. Sweet. So that's cool. It probably had a bunch of stuff from before, so we're good. So now all we need to do is give this thing a redstone signal, right? For now, it's going to be representative of a button, right? And watch what happens when I hit the button. They should have all eaten. And we should see all 6 of these doing a mana burst. Nice. How cool is that? I love everything about it, right? So on Redstone Pulse, we're feeding mana into the things. Awesome. So now all we need is, well, 2 small things. One, we have to detect when you're emitting a redstone signal, you. And then if you're not emitting a redstone signal for a certain period of time, I just achieved the achievement, shocking. If you're not emitting a redstone signal for a certain period of time, then I want you to send a pulse to these guys. And we're going to do that with a very easy and simple super circuit maker, okay? So at super, it's really easy. It's just this and some of this and a redstone circuit plate, which I'm just going to make a new set of view. Because I have the impression that you probably have stuff on you, right? So this is a really easy setup to do because the Ender Pulsar from Super Circuit Maker does exactly what we want to do, okay? So we're going to get the screwdriver here. And the way this works is the pulsar emits a redstone signal every so many ticks, right? So I'm going to make this every 3 seconds, right? We should probably make it more. We should probably make it 5 seconds, right? So that'll be every 5 seconds. It emits a pulse, right? And the way this works is pretty awesome because the pulsar, when it receives a redstone signal, will reset that 5-second timer. So as long as it receives a redstone signal every so often, so like imagine this is the mana pulsar, right? Mana pulsar's ticking. I'm getting mana. I'm getting mana. I'm getting mana. See how it's not pulsing the pulsar? Okay. As soon as we stop getting mana through those spreaders and 5 seconds elapses, then the pulsar is allowed to burst, right? And then a few seconds later, we're getting mana, etc. Cool. So that's it. That's all. That's all there is to it. Super simple, super circuit maker. Okay. I just need that insulated redstone conduit. Ooh, awesome. I love it. And then you come with me. Okay. And your job will be to sit right over here. And emit that pulse. And we're going to set you down to here. And this direction is facing west. I think I should be able to do that. And that's good. And then you should go. So here's what happens. Ready? It should pulse the food. In theory. Why are you not pulsing? Precision dropper. You should actually be working. Is it the wrong way? It's rotated the wrong way. Screwdriver. It's pulsing this side. I have to rotate it. Now it should be good. You ready? Pulse. They ate. Wait a few seconds because it takes a few seconds for them to eat. It pulsed a second time. So we have to increase this pulse duration, right? So let's make it 7 seconds, okay? And now it should not be trying to send a pulse again, right? So this pulsing redstone right here, nice, right, is saying, hey, you, don't pulse again. And then as soon as all these guys are done feeding, we're good. The only other thing we might want to do is grab a comparator. And the Draconic Evolution potentiometer, right? You're emitting a redstone signal of what? 1. So that's how full this mana thing is. It just ate, by the way. Nice. I think we're doing good, right? And then this will turn into a 2 in a moment. And I want to test subtract mode here. Be right back. So now we're emitting a signal strength of 2, right? So I'm going to set this guy to subtract mode. Okay. And then if I put the potentiometer here and set you to 1, you should be now 1. Cool. So what I'm going to do is use this to feed into this thing. Now, can you... What are the chances that you can read from right underneath here? The answer is not really. Which is a bummer. Unless I use the phantom face, but... I'll probably hold off on the phantom face for now, but maybe we'll try it in the future, because we gotta wrap up. It's getting to be that time, right? So for now, we will put this guy here on subtract mode, right? You are gonna be a redstone signal, and your job will be... Oh, doesn't hurt. To keep this signal on. Cool. With that signal on, we're no longer going to pulse, right? That was from a second ago, but we won't pulse going forward now, right? It had already pulsed and eaten, but this will keep that off, right? So all we have to do is set this to something like 14. Okay, so now what's going to happen is, as soon as it's full on the mana pool, I'll make you like 13 or something for now. As soon as this mana pool is full, this will be emitting a redstone signal, which will go into the insulated conduit. And like I said, maybe we'll hide this underground next episode. But for now, it's the old wrapping up point. So you know what this means. Episode 60 is a world download. You guys get this world to play around in and have fun with. Hope you guys are enjoying the series. We've got another 10 episodes into a world download. What are we going to do between now and then? Who knows? Nothing but a surprise for you guys. All right, Daryl20 signing off. Hope you're enjoying the series so far, guys. Honestly, as always, I like hearing feedback. So, you know, we're 60 episodes in. Put some comments down there. Say, hey, Dyer, we're loving it. Or, hey, we'd like to see more of X. Or, we'd like to see you do less of Y. Right? And don't literally put, I want to see more of X, because I know somebody's going to do that. And now that I've said it, everybody's going to do it. So please try and tell me legitimately like what you'd like to see more or less of. But yeah, for now, wrapping up point. Daryl20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Enderman's still creeping around. Take it easy.